Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ahli bayti tayyibin at-tahirin. I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, and I ask Allah to send His salutations upon the Holy Prophet and his household. One thing that affects us all without a doubt is eating. As human beings, we need to eat in order to stay alive. Now, that eating consists of halal and haram, which is ritually pure and ritually impure. For instance, if you go to your fridge and you open your fridge one day and you see that the food that you made a couple of days ago, which I'm sure you all have seen, has grown a forest on it. What do I mean by growing a forest? I mean fungus and mold and so on and so forth. A little miniature forest has grown in your food. Would you then pick up that same food and eat it? Or would you throw it in the bin? I won't ask that actually, because I know some of you probably would eat it. No. So obviously you wouldn't eat it, you'd throw it away. So why is it that we do not care for the spiritual side of food? Everything has more than just one dimension. You can't just say food has got one dimension and that's it. It's just the physical side of food. No, of course there is a spiritual side to food as well. That very food becomes part of your body, as we're about to see. Now, in Safintul Bihar, the Holy Prophet has said that when a single morsel of haram enters the stomach of a person and becomes part of his body, the angels of the sky and the earth curse him. In other words, just as the saying which you've all heard, you are what you eat, this is what the Prophet is saying. The Prophet is saying that when you eat haram, in effect that haram food, the impure food, becomes part of your body. That's how you grow. You eat and you grow. You eat and you grow. Now when it's part of your body, what does that mean? Does that mean, oh, it's okay after a while it will leave your body? What does it involve in terms of your prayers, in terms of du'as, in terms of spiritually being clean? In the same book, we see the Holy Prophet has said that the prayers of one who eats a single morsel of haram are not accepted for 40 nights. Every piece of flesh that grows by consuming haram is most deserving of being burnt in the hellfire, and even a single morsel consumed causes some growth of flesh. In other words, that everything you eat or drink, however small, will become part of your body. And if it's haram, what does it deserve? It deserves to be burnt in the hellfire. Now, I once had a friend who would eat haram food. And being a Muslim, I said to them, as in them being a Muslim, I said to them, look, you know, every now and then you fast or you do this or you do that. Why is it then that you don't take note of what you eat? I said, it's very easy to eat a million other foods and just refrain from haram meat, pork, or so on. And they said, I said, you know, you're not going to starve. There are so many foods out there that it's impossible that you'll starve if you just give up one food. They said, I don't want to hurt my mother's feelings. She cooks, she takes trouble, so on. We all sit at the dinner table as a family and we eat. I said, would you take your mother's hand and place it on the fire? Turn on the gas cooker, and as she's cooking, you come home from uni or whatever, would you take your hand and place it in the fire? And they said, no, what kind of crazy thing is that to ask? Are you mad? And I said, no. I said, but you must be, if that's what you're doing. I said, in effect, by eating this haram, you might as well just take her hand and place it in the fire. Because that's where she's going to end up going, and that's where you're going to end up going. And it struck them. It struck them because they realized, you know, it's that serious. Whether they gave it up or they didn't give it up is not what I'm here to talk about. That's their issue, that's for them to know and for their Lord to know, not between me. But the point is that I did my duty, I warned them of it. I showed them the severity of this act. That, look, if you're going to sit there and just accept it, if you don't want to hurt her feelings, then think about hurting her body. Think about hurting yourself in the hereafter. Think about the implications of eating haram food. Now, passing on, I'm not here to sit and talk about, you know, where you eat, what you regard to be halal or haram. That's for you and your faith to decide, for your understanding of Islam. But I will point out one fact, that reading an official government report, it was said that 80% of restaurants and places that claim to be halal are not actually halal. In other words, there is a lot of fraud going on. Why? For one simple fact, money. Halal meat costs more to produce than haram meat. In other words, you will have to pay more for halal meat. So what do people do? They buy the haram meat and they advertise it as halal. Now, me personally, I choose to be particular with this issue. Before, maybe 8-9 years ago, I would eat out at any chicken place that I saw says halal. But now I'm very careful as to where I eat. I mean, I don't eat out anymore. If I do, it's something vegetarian. Am I dead? Have I got some kind of a disease? No. I'm still alive. I'm still kicking. I'm here. So it shows that you can give up some things for precaution. If you're really not sure what it is and you're worried about the consequences, you can give up something and take another stance. Eat meat at home and not outside. Since your mother or your father, whoever they buy the meat from, know their butcher, then that's okay. But again, that's something for you will decide, between you and your God. That's not for me to sit here and say, do this and don't do that. As Allah says, La ikraha fid deen, which means there is no obligation in religion. You don't have to do this and you don't have to not do it. It's up to you what you do, how you do it, free will. Now, one thing I wanted to point out very quickly was a saying by Imam Hussein alayhi salam. We all know the story of Karbala, and Imam Hussein came to the troops of Ibn Sa'd and he said to them that your bellies are filled with unlawful wealth, and now you will not accept the truth. Why don't you deal with justice? Why don't you listen to me? And this can be found in Nafasul Mahmoud. If anything, we can see that the eating of haram hardens your hearts to the truth and to justice. Those very soldiers of Ibn Sa'd had been eating haram and consuming haram, that they were not able to see the light of Imam Hussein's message, to see the truth of it. So if anything, we should take this point very seriously. Do we see ourselves as part of Ibn Sa'd's army, or do we see ourselves as part of Imam Hussein's army? Who do we stand for? وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.